Welcome to my channel. I'm Rachel. My business name is Banu, and I'm a content creator in Los Angeles. I mostly work in the YouTube space, but I also work in the Instagram, TikTok, real world, mostly focusing on video. I also love photo, but for this series, I really want to create a how-to for a beginner for getting into YouTube in a more organized way. So that way, when you launch, you really feel prepared and ready to go, and it's not a scramble once you've already started. I've created so many channels for other people before, but I'm really excited because I have learned so many things over the past few years. I want to help you create something that you're very passionate about and love. There are more than 37 million YouTube channels, and so let's help create yours. So this video is more broad. I'll create a few videos that dive deeper into all of these little details, but right now we are in the brainstorm ideation phase where you just grab a pen and paper and just write down the first thing that comes to you. I'll also share all of these questions below so that you can go back in the description and fill them out in your own time. So for section 1, I'm going to go over the biggest question, I would say, and that is what? So the core of this would be, what is your main motivation? A few reasons why people make YouTube channels. First, and probably most popular, is to try and make money on YouTube. That's a good reason. So I would say that even if your goal is to make money, there has to be a passion behind that. Businesses or brands want to make channels so that they feel like they can really connect with their consumer and show it in the real world. This is an experiential way to show real life applications of how to use your product. So if it's something that you want to teach people how to use it, YouTube is a great way to post a quick video, a tutorial, whatever. Another motivation is that you're trying to make other people's lives easier. So if you're an expert at something and you want to teach other people how to do that, this could be, if you don't have a wine openers, open wine, which, you know, I've been there. I actually taught myself everything I know about photo and video via YouTube, and so I'm very thankful for it because those professionals that came before me kept me from spending a lot of money on going to film school, so thank you. So another motivation is that you're spreading the word about something that you're passionate about. That applies also to being passionate about your business, but this could be anything. It could be political, it could be religious, it could be anything that you feel like you really care about it, and you want other people to understand your opinions, or you want a platform where you can share your opinions, and YouTube is a good and bad place for that. It's important to spread the word about something you're passionate about, especially if you feel it's very niche and it doesn't get enough coverage. So I feel like you can really find your people on YouTube, which is cool. You can find your audience, you can find the people that really care about what you're posting. Another great reason to create a YouTube channel is that you want to create memories and share them with others. So a lot of celebrities will create vlogs, and those are normally sponsored by other brands, but I think that there's a lot of beauty behind creating these like home videos. It's something that is a little bit outdated, I guess, in the iPhone world because everyone just keeps all their memories on their phone, but I think that there's something really beautiful about creating videos, put them together, vlogs, and that way you have them for years to come. You can always come back to them. So the next question that I want you to start with is, what do you really care about? What are you passionate about? You have to know this before you start, or it just comes out as a jumbled mess, or it's too general. But the more specific you can get into that, I really think the better. So what do you talk about in your free time? Like, what really gets you going? What is super entertaining to you? What do you already feel this passion for? What is a different angle that you can take to do things differently? So if you find videos that you really like that other people are creating, how can you zhuzh it a little bit? Just take a slightly different angle to make it completely your own. So step 1, motivation, and that is your what. So section 2 is why. The big question here is, what is your goal? The goal is a long-term thing that keeps you going when your motivation starts to fade and the going gets tough, so they say, which will happen because everyone's motivation, no matter how much money you make, no matter how many subscribers you have, motivation fades over time. It's just a human thing that happens to everyone. This is the very big picture when you zoom out on all the little details of everything you want to be doing. So you'll keep on coming back to this question over and over again when deciding what brands you want to work with, what content you want to be putting out. This why is really important to figure out right off the bat. And sometimes this why will actually shift because everyone grows as a person over time. No one stays exactly the same. So as you grow, as you learn more, as you get feedback, this why can shift a little bit, but it's good to know what it is at each point of journey, I would say. I feel like whenever I say journey, I feel like I'm on The Bachelor. An example of this, of why, is that you would want to shift from working with fast fashion brands because you care about the impact that it's having on the environment. And that could be something that happens over time. The more you learn about it, then your eyes open up and you realize, hey, it's not worth that few $1,000s to make this video to encourage other people to buy from this brand that I don't ethically completely agree with. Okay, now moving on to section 3, this is your who section. And also all of these, I'm going to dive into more detail. I just really want to get this going and have a place for you to start. So we've gone over what you want to say, and the next question is who do you want to say this to? So who is your goal target audience? This is only formed after you already have your motivation and your goals set in place. So figuring out your target audience, it might be super easy for you to figure out. For me, it's kind of people that are in a similar age range, people that are creative, that want to be their own boss, self-motivated. This is totally up to you. But your target audience, you can even look on other social media platforms, like on Instagram, and see what your main following is on there, and likely that will probably be similar to who you want to promote to on your YouTube as well. So another who question is who else is doing what you're trying to do? So watching other people's channel is really great research. It's also super entertaining, but you can really see the feedback that other people are getting from the target audience that you're trying to reach, and you can see what they're looking for. When you have subscribers, I feel like they actually connect with you. They give you feedback, they care about what you're posting, and they feel like they kind of know you on a certain level. Instagram, because it's mostly short video or photo focused, it seems like way more put together, and YouTube seems a little bit more raw with showing videos. It could be unfiltered videos. I just think that there's a big difference between the two. Okay, so section 4 is how. This is when you're really figuring out the details of what you want to be posting. So how personal do you want to get? That's important to know before you start. So if you have kids and you don't want to show them, the more open you are to being personal, I think the more real your channel can be. But I also understand saving certain details of your life just for yourself. How do you plan to cross-promote your content? That's a harder question. How are you planning on making your target audience happy? How are you using your interest rather than be niche or broad to reach your target audience? So an example of this would be that I recently worked with an influencer that really loves dogs, and she also likes baking. So we could just make a YouTube video about her dogs and how much she loves them, and then she could make a separate baking show, or you could combine the two and create a more niche video that is a baking show specifically for dog treats. How often do you plan to post? This is important. This takes, my favorite thing is creating color-coded calendars and planners, and so I really actually like the planning side, but I know for a lot of people they don't necessarily love planning. I do think that being organized is super important because the number one thing for YouTube is consistency. Consistency is what will keep your following growing. How do you plan on shooting your content and editing your content? So for some people that's easy because they already know how to shoot and edit, and that's a talent that they've already gotten down. For some people, this is really starting at ground zero, and that's what I want to be here for. I will help you figure out what equipment you need, easy tips that are kind of for more beginners, so that you can really create high quality content still on a budget. How really also has to do with the budget a lot, because for some people, an answer to the how is that they're just going to hire people to shoot and edit and post, which I do for some influencers, but some people are working with a lesser budget and they need to figure out how to do it themselves, just a more homemade version, and then later on as they grow, they can decide different pathways for that. The last section that I'll go over is, for some people, maybe the least fun section, but this is the planning phase, and this is when. So the when is different for everyone because it kind of depends on if you already have a following, if you already have a shooter, an editor, if you have equipment. There's so many different factors that go into this, but figuring out all the other details first will really help you with this last phase. For some people, the win is sooner than others, and that's totally fine because it's important to take your time. A big tip that I tell people is that before you launch, I would have at least 5 videos saved up because consistency is incredibly important on YouTube. And if you have some videos lined up, it also takes off some of the pressure of having to shoot them the week of. It's just nice to start off feeling like you're ahead because at some point you will probably get behind, and so the win is super important. The win might be longer if you also need to create a marketing plan to bring in your target audience to see your channel in the first place. I'm going to create a few different Amazon wish lists, I would say, that have equipment that I recommend. I'm going to do them by video so that way it feels like little bite-sized pieces, one at a time. So this first one will be what I think is so much fun. I love calendars, whiteboards, markers, all of that, and this will really help with the planning phase. For me, I'm such a visual learner and planner that really having a big whiteboard where you can just sketch out and brainstorm and word bomb it all over it is perfect. So next week, I really want to dive more into finding your brand identity, which is very different than branding. Brand identity is not just for businesses, it's for individuals. And when you want to create a channel, you're really becoming a brand in itself. So let me know if this video was helpful for you at all. I would love any feedback. Subscribe so that you can see when I post new videos, and let's keep on growing together and creating your own YouTube.